everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of Wrestling with the Future. I'm your host, Psychic Medium Angelo, joined by my co-host today, Mr. Marvelous, the movie maker himself, Mike Messier. Mikey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Angelo. Such a pleasure to have this wonderful guest on the show, a Hall of Famer by anybody's standards, a legend, a wrestler, a trainer, an entertainer, and I can't wait to get talking with him, you, and our other special guest today.
And I am also joined by a very dear friend from Ocala, Florida. He is a huge, and I mean with a capital huge, wrestling fan, especially in the days of Vince McMahon Sr., and he has followed our guest's career from day one. His name is Benny Scala. Benny, I'm just going to call you Big Ben. How you doing, Benny?
That works. Actually from Newport Richie. Although Scala from Ocala rhymes, I kind of like that.
Exactly. Well, gentlemen, we have an amazing guest today. Let's waste no time and get right into it. Our guest today is a multi-time tag team champion with both World Wrestling Federation and the original Worldwide Wrestling Federation, along with his tag team brother, his partner in crime, Lucious Johnny Valiant. He is also a mainstay of the National Wrestling Alliance, World Championship Wrestling, the AWA, you name it, this guy's been there. He is simply a Hall of Famer at anyone's standard. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, my friend, the Boogeyman, Jimmy Valiant. How you doing, brother?
Oh, great, man. Angie, thank you so much, brother Mike. Great hearing from and talking to you again. And Benny, welcome to the show, man. Hey, we're going to cook it today. I'm just so excited to be here and honored, man, to be on your show again, Angelo. You've been a friend of mine for years and years, brother, man. And hey, until the day I die, man, I'm in your corner, brother.
Well, brother, we love you here. You know, this is your second appearance here. The first time you were here, I was surprised you would have run in from an old buddy of yours, Davey O'Hannon.
You bet. Oh, Davey, man, you know, it was so nice, and you know, to hear him, and of course, it brought in so many old stories and just so memories, and you know, that's all you got, man. You know, after you get up there, and you know, no one can ever take the memories away from you. You know, I don't care. Man, you could lose your house, God bless. You could lose your health. You could lose everything that you have, and you know, before you go to heaven. But you know what? You got the memories, and I just smile inside and outside. You know, when you know, stuff like that. Yes, sir. Yes.
Well,
sir.
brother, that's why we do this show. We you know, we do a very different kind of wrestling show. You know that. We keep the memories alive here.
You bet you do. Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't talk about, you know, results of matches or get involved in the drama of it all. You know, I like the stories, and you know that. We could sit around for hours and just talk stories, you and I. But we got a couple guys here today. Now, you think I can talk. Wait till you hear these guys. Well, I want to introduce him again. We have a gentleman, Boogie. He's a good friend of mine. He's a filmmaker, actor, writer, producer, director. His name's Mike Messier, and I'm going to start this off by letting Mike have at it with you. Mikey, you got the Boogeyman.
Hi, handsome Jimmy. It's such an honor to be talking to you. And, you know, we've actually met twice in the past. There was Ken Spence was a promoter in Greensboro, North Carolina. He had 2 nights of shows, and I went to the first night as a fan, and the second night I was the ring announcer, and I had to ring announce for you. And I have this photograph from that era, which you'll see on the YouTube version of the show, but it's me, you, and a buddy of mine, and you had the full beard at the time. This was early 1995, so... But it was such a pleasure.
Picture. Wow.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure to ring announce for you. My very first ring announcing gig, I was ring announcing handsome Boogie Woogie man Jimmy Valiant in the main event. Yeah. And then 2013, I believe you were a featured guest at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So I also got to see you there because you did the meet and greets and everything with everybody. And But Jimmy, I kind of wanted to start off with a personal memory of seeing you wrestle live at the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup 1987 in Baltimore. I believe you teamed with Lasertron, and that was such a festival of great wrestlers from the Jim Crockett promotions. Yourself, Raging Bull, and Rick Rude were there as a team. Of course, Dusty Nikita won the thing. Do you have any memories specifically to the 1987 Crockett Cup tournament, the 2-day event in Baltimore, Maryland, Jimmy?
I do. I really do. And hey, and it's great talking to you again, Michael. Man, yeah, right there it brought back so many memories. Of Ken Spence and with him, for years. God bless him. And yes, and I do remember, that you were with the announcing, and I remember, you're such a nice gentleman, and thank you for all that. But that night with the Crockett with Baltimore, and we had that 2-night. It was great. Dusty Rhodes, Steamboat, Wahoo, Piper, everybody, man, was just there, and it was for the Crockett Cup, and which was a real big deal, and of course Lasertron, which was Hector Guerrero, God bless him, and he was so excited because they just put that new gimmick on him, man, and he was just so excited, and he's such a of course, second generation, his father and all his brothers, my guy, and then now there's third, fourth generation of Guerreros, and Eddie was just a baby, just a young boy, 4 or 5 years old. I remember him. They bring him to Hector and his brother Monto and all his brothers. But anyway, I was just so pleased being partners with him because he was really special to me, and he had a great gimmick there. I'll tell you, he put that together, man, and they teamed us up, and it was just something that the memories of that night and that 2-night deal, was so big.
Oh, yeah.
All this was Dusty Rhodes, came out of his head. In fact, that people don't know. But I talk about it in my autobiography, Woo Mercy Daddy, but, Dusty, that was his child, that came out was the Crockett Cup and the Stampede, also Battle Royal, and then also
Bunkhouse Stampede. Yep.
Was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Starcade and hey, even the Boogeyman Jam '84, brother, that was all his.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, Dusty is it was so talented and so who trained. You got to have a mentor, and Eddie Graham was his mentor, and just like Dick the Bruiser was my mentor, and I had many mentors, but Dick started me out. But Eddie Graham, he just took him under his wing as
Absolutely.
so. Yes, sir. And so all this was even the American bashes, that we would have, singing and big time, man. I mean, he would bring in, of course, David Allen Cole just about every year, but we go on the American, wrestling, and hey, but he brought George Jones on, man. He brought Waylon Jennings, and so many super.
You know what, Jimmy? You just brought up something important. Mentioning these celebrities. Now, a lot of people don't understand this, but Dusty was ahead of his time in a lot of ways. You never saw celebrities in wrestling before that. A lot of people think that Vince McMahon started it with WrestleMania with Liberace and Muhammad Ali and people like that. But people don't realize that long before WrestleMania, Crockett's were, they were steeped in celebrity tradition. There were a lot of people, entertainers that were a part of that organization. Let me ask you a question, Boogie.
Yes,
talk about Dusty Rhodes. I know you wrestled against him, you wrestled with him and for him. He was considered a genius. What made him special?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was just his buddy for just to start out. We both started together. Around the early mid '60s, and in fact, I was working for the Sheik Big Time Wrestling in Angelo in the late '90s. I'm sorry, the late '60s, and in Detroit, and all of a sudden here comes Dick Murdoch and Dusty in from just two old wild East Texas Cowboys, and they went as the Outlaws. And
oh boy,
this was their oh man, and they were wild as them. The Texas East Texas wind, man. And boy oh boy, but they did real good. Sputnik Monroe was there, and he was our mentor. We were just all just sucking up all the old what we could from he was a great interviewer, Sputnik, and that. But anyway, so I started out with Dusty, man, all the way back in the '60s, and 50-something years we were together, and God bless he's up there in the big ring in the sky. I'll see him someday. We all will, But he, what made him special, Angelo, was that he, Dusty himself, man, had so much charisma. Not only, it just shine, man, in the ring. It was just unbelievable what that guy, and he was a big kid boy, and he was big all the way up, and I know he got sick there at the end, broke my heart, and lost all that weight. God bless. But Dusty, he just lived it. It takes a certain person to not only go and perform at night, 7 days a week, in the arenas, but then be at the office, man, at 9 o'clock in the morning, brother. And we're making these 400, 500, 600-mile trips, man. And I'm telling you, I couldn't do it. And another one, of course, was Superstar Billy Graham. I'm sorry, Superstar Billy Dundee for Tennessee. He was that type that could do that, that could book and wrestle every night too.
Well, I gotta tell you,
24 hours a day. Yeah, man, 24 hours a day they lived it.
Well, I gotta tell you something.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you noticed, but Bill was on the show last week.
Yeah, I heard it, man. I heard it, brother. I did. I heard all about it, and you bet. And
he's coming back on again.
Oh, good.
Well, I'll tell you what. While I got you here,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna. It's just between us. While I got you here, what I'm gonna do is I get Bill Dundee on. I'd like to have you do a surprise run-in on him.
Oh, we can do it, brother. You bet.
Oh, I know it, bro. Let me ask you a question, because then I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to turn it over to Benny in just a second. But you mentioned Bill Dundee being a guy who could book, work the office, and wrestle. Dusty was the same kind of guy. Is that, there was only a few people in the business that could get away with that. And the only other guy I can think of, and I want your opinion on this, might have been Bill Watts. What do you think about Cowboy?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, and he could do the same. Of course, he was the owner then. He in the late '60s, '69 maybe it was. Vern Gagne sent me into Tulsa, and I was just getting going there too, and he said that himself and Bill and Von Fritz, they bought in to Leroy McGurk. Yeah, they bought in there, and Watts was going to start running it. So I was there right on at the beginning of that, and then from there I went on to Texas, and from then they sent me to New York in 70, 71, and that's where I got my original break in Handsome Jimmy, and the rest is history. But the thing is, Bill, he could do everything. Of course, he ended up, with the whole territory. Leroy, he bought everybody out, and it was his and his right man. That now he didn't work, but he did do the booking all up in Louisiana. The other end for Watts, was the Snakes Daddy. Was one of the Kentuckians. Was
Grizzly. Grizzly Smith.
Yeah, Grizz, you bet. And so but it just takes a certain a person that just can do that. I would be on the road with Dundee, and we would. In fact, I stayed with them. A few weeks, and I says, Willie, I don't know how you. I call him Willie. I don't know how you do this, man. We would get in at 3, 4 in the morning. Of course, Tennessee territory, and I'd crash. We'd all crash. Brother, at 9 o'clock, he's over at Jared's house, and they're going through the book. I mean, every day, and he would run home. Like whatever the trip it was. Say we had to go we're in Nashville now, so we had to go to Louisville. We had to leave by 3. So he would run home by 1:30, 2 o'clock, and work out. Listen to this, man. He would work out, he'd eat, grab his bag, jump in the car, and would fly to Louisville, and then boom, work that shot, man, and then boom, drive all the way back to his house, and man, I'm just did that, worked out and ate, and hey, and I'm in bed, and boom, next morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, he's back there, and it just a few hours of sleep. And he would do that 5 days a week, and then the weekends, we'd work twice on Saturday because we had to be in Memphis TV on Saturday Live, and then we'd go to back to
Well, I'm going to ask you later on in the interview. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about that TV. We had Bill Dundee here, and he is smartening me up on a lot of stuff with that Memphis TV. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we do, Boogie, I want to turn it over to a super fan, a guy that's a first time on the show with us. He's a big Boogie fan, big Jimmy Valiant fan. And this is Benny Scala from Ocala. Go ahead, Benny. It's all yours, brother.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm good with the spoken word, but the words elude me as to how flattered and honored I am to be with you guys. You guys are all main eventers. I'm not even enhancement talent. I'm like the guy who puts the ring together. But the one thing, I have 2 things going for me. I have the gift of gab, and I have an absolute love of wrestling. You know how on Facebook people say in a relationship with so-and-so since, this date? I want to post mine in a relationship with wrestling since 1967. Which is when I saw my first match. So, and actually, Angela, I don't know if you even know this or not, but I work in Clearwater, Florida, which is about before COVID was about a 90-minute drive each way. So I was commuting about 17 hours a week. So I listened to a lot of wrestling podcasts, and I discovered yours. And the very first podcast I think I listened to of yours was with Jimmy Valiant. And
there you go.
And what really struck me was a couple of things.
That's a good one to break you in with. I could tell you that.
Absolutely, but the thing that really hooked me was that number one, you had Davey O'Hannon do a run-in, which was phenomenal, and then just the relationship, just the interaction between Davey and Jimmy, and then when Davey said, I guess it was Johnny Rods, Pete Sanchez, and Manny Soto all said hi. You could tell how genuinely touched Jimmy was to hear from those guys, from all of them. And so I guess it really is kind of a statement, but a question. You don't really see that brothership in any other sport. And Jimmy, it's so great to hear how you guys, it's so obvious how much you guys love each other.
That's a great observation, Benny. Jimmy, talk about that. Talk about the wrestling brotherhood.
You bet, Angelo. Yeah. Hey, great talking to you, Benny, and thanks for the kind words, brother. And we do give respect, and we depend. We were on the road with each other, and we're with them every night. We're with them more than we were with our actual family, our wives, our children. And we depended on each other, and you didn't have to be a partner like me and, Lucious Johnny, we was together 5 years, went all over the world, and man, we went to every territory, and it ended up, of course, with Dick, started out with Dick the Bruiser, and then we went back to New York, and then, of course, we was WWF tag team champions over a year, and then anyway, then we went to Atlanta, Georgia, and then and then from there we went to Gagne's for Minneapolis, and from there we went to of course we went to Japan in between these shots, and then we ended up in San Francisco for Roy Shires, but anyway, me and him, of course, we were brothers, and we depended on each other, and this and that. But the whole the business, we did. We gave so much respect because it's not an easy business, man. It's hardest business there is, and on these boys, and night after night, and so you have to help each other and love each other, man, and no matter what you go to bat for, man. You're out there together, and it's like turn the page. Bob Seger sings this song, and you go into the truck stop at night, and he's got the long hair, and you hear these cliches saying, "Is that a man or a woman?" And us too, hey, we got the blonde hair, you hear stuff, whatever, but you know what, man, we're together, and we pay no attention, of course, there we get recognized or whatever, but it's a complete respect and complete family, man, and for sure.
Boogie, Mikey's got a question for you, brother.
Hey, Jimmy, one of the great things about your career is that it's kind of an early example of a guy completely reinventing himself, at least from my perspective as a fan, from your early to mid-'70s tag team work to becoming the Boogie Woogie Man in Mid-Atlantic. Like the transition from, for lack of a better term, heel tag team Jimmy Valiant in the WWWF to the Boogie Woogie Man, the boy from New York City, coming out to the song from Manhattan Transfer, the epic feud, a 4-year feud with Paul #1 Jones involving the hair and the beard. Can you speak on when you went through that transition? And I know that Memphis kind of was a transitionary spot, but was that a risk for you to go from one of the greatest heels in the business as a tag team guy to a singles guy on your own and more of the man of the people? Was that something you considered, or did you just wing it and do it and it worked?
Great question.
No, very good question. Yeah, Mike. And the whole deal was that when I came in, I was Handsome Jimmy and a heel, of course, half my career, and then when I came to Boogie Woogie Man, then I was a crowd pleaser for the other half of my career. But the thing was, how that happened was that I just got in with the Crockett's, just came in, and maybe 6 weeks, and they teamed me up with Valentine, and I was going as King James then. They changed my name. You know, wherever you go, you know, you got a boss, and it's just like when Dusty went to you know, with polka dots and everything, they call them maybe the American Dreamers, but it was a little different. They change your name, you change your gimmick or whatever. Yeah. They're your boss, you know. And so when I came in, man, I was established Handsome Jimmy, you know, and you know, all over the world, but they wanted King James, and hey, yes sir, man, and you know, this is how we do business, and you know, if you don't like it, you leave. But hey, I like it, and I was always that way. You know, I'm very easy to do business with, but the thing was there was that when I went in for that, we teamed up with Valentine. We wrestled that summer for like 6 weeks with Bad Leroy Brown and Ebony Diamond, which was The Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, under the hood, and we had a real good run there. But Lord Hayes was my manager, and I came out with the big robe and the crown and all that. But in 6 weeks, now I'm doing that, and then Jarrett calls and to Jim Crockett, and he says, "Could I have Handsome, you know, come in and for a Monday night shot in 2 weeks?" Because they got something, you know, that Lawler's going to bring me in as his partner, you know, against two big heels there that they jumped on him, and he needs a partner, and I was out of there for a while, and so they knew it'd draw. So when I went in, the Coliseum sold out that Monday, and I fly back the next morning, Tuesday. Every Tuesday we used to do interviews, and so I went straight to I got the first thing coming out of Memphis. I went straight to the TV, our office, to do the interviews. We do interviews all day Tuesday, and then we'd go to Raleigh, North Carolina, or somewhere that night. They had 3 towns a night running during the week, and so I'd go to one town after that. But the thing is, with the Crockett's, and so when I got back, man, they were waiting at the door for me. And Ole Anderson was the promoter, was the booker then for Jim Crockett, and so I know Gene Anderson. He says, "Come, Jimmy, hurry, come! Forget the interviews. Get in here, Jim Crockett. Hey, Jimmy wants to talk to you." So I go right into their big office, and real fast. Here's the whole thing, how this happened. He says, since I got in, they shut the door, and it was just me, Ole, and Jimmy. Gene left, and it was just a private meeting. And he says, this was before Dusty Rhodes was there with the, you know, the book, you know. And he says, why didn't you tell me you were a big, you know, a good guy, baby face, crowd pleaser, you know, in Tennessee when you go back? And I says, well, yeah, I didn't, you know, I didn't even say nothing, you know. And I says, well, you know, and he says, listen, he says, Jimmy, they called from Tennessee. Jerry called that morning and says, can I have him back in 2 weeks for like a 3-week run, you know, and on Monday night because that's his baby, you know, Memphis Coliseum, and then he says, well, what's going on? He said, well, he sold out. He sold the Memphis Coliseum out with Lawler, and you know, blah blah blah. Oh, and he says, well, you know, these guys are good guys. See, and I didn't change my just like Dick the Bruiser. He never changed his gimmick. He was just a rough, tough guy. Yeah. I'd pull hair. I'd hit him with chairs. I'd use his gimmick on people, and then, you know, I just asked the, you know, referees, hey, did you pull his hair? And I said, ask the people. And they said, no, he didn't. They'd lie for me. they just loved that. They loved me because I was going against the rough, tough heels, and that I was a character, and so that's how the Boogie Woogie Man. He says, can you do that here? And I said, sure, I can do it. He says, well, Jared wants you for 3 weeks. I'm gonna give him to you for the whole 3 weeks, and you just stay there. And all he said was, now we got to change your name, but it can't be Handsome Jimmy. It can't be King James. It's got to be something. And I said, how about the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, just Boogie Woogie? And he looked at Jimmy and he said, yeah, that sounds good. And I says, can I come out to music? Nobody was coming out to music. See, you got to be different, man.
Yeah.
This is how this thing got over. And so he says, what kind of music? I says, well, there's something real hot, because I was being billed from New York City then. I says, boy from New York City. And so he says, yeah, okay, let's do that. And anyway, he says, can you grow a beard? Now, that was only the idea. And I says,
oh, really?
Yeah, man, yeah, it sure was. And he says, throw the razor away. Don't shave no more. Because, see, I was just there 6 weeks. Hey, when I came back, they didn't even know me. I started my beard, and it wasn't long, of course, but it was, like a month old, and it was coming. So I had to think. Yes, sir. Hey, real fast, and then I had to think of something. I says, you got to be, what else can I do? And I says, I'm going to come out, of course, to the music. Well, that's different. I'm going to dance. I'm going to hug. I'm going to kiss everybody. When I come down that aisle, man, I don't care, the woman, man, child, grandma, grandpa, blue, purple. Hey, it didn't matter what color, man. I'm kissing everybody on my way there and on my way back, And
you sure
did. I did. And for one thing, Andrew, hey, who wants to kiss him? But I did, because it was different, and the music,
man,
it got over. It got over like $1 million. Yes, sir.
Holy crap, was it different? You go from this clean-shaven heel. Probably you and Johnny were probably the best-looking heels ever. You go from this clean-shaven, really
pretty boy type. Yes, right.
Good-looking heel, and here you go, you ugly up your face with this big old bushy beard, and now you're over like Rover. You're kissing babies and hugging grandmoms, and then people are loving you. And I heard something, and you got to tell me if this is true, or whether I'm just if what I heard was malarkey. Jerry Jarrett loved you so much that he bought you a house.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that true? He bought you a house?
He did, and I'll tell you how that happened. I was in.
Yeah.
I was.
Please.
Yes, sir. I of course, I worked for him the 3 weeks and started the Boogie Woogie Man, and now I'm the Boogie Woogie Man. So I go back, and we got on. The Superstation, Channel 17 at TBS, and Turner's company, and so this is the early '80s, and man, we're going all over the world. First people that go all over the world, was TBS, and had wrestling, and so we were the first international stars, and before that, the only way you could be international stars is to be in the magazines. And of course, I was in New York, in the 70s, 3 different times, over a year each time. So every time there, I'd get the 12, 14 covers, and always stories, pictures, articles. Well, then you're international, because everybody from all over the world would get the wrestling magazine, plus the United States. But now they do the cable. Man, it's better than the magazines.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Did you have, Jimmy, did you have any idea how powerful that television was?
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, brother, man. It was. And I'll tell you how powerful and how explosion it was. And real fast, getting back to your thing, but I'm going to tell you this too. It is you said, did he buy you a house? He bought me a house because every time he kept, asking for me. So Crockett would send me in for, a Memphis or in Louisville, Evansville, and then fly me back in home, and then I'd work a month and do it again, whatever, 6 weeks. But then every time I'd go in there, he'd say, Handsome, he still call me Handsome, Jerry. He says, when you coming in here? And I says, man, Ben, I just hee-hawed around. Well, finally, I got tired of him asking me that. So I tell myself, next time he asks me that, I'm going to say, you buy me a house and I'll come in and I'll work for you, and to give me the title, you buy the thing, so I said that, and he sort of laughed and chuckled, and he told Law, he says, Hanson wants a house, to come in, man, bop, bop, bop. And brother, I went on back home, and they didn't say nothing. It was like 3 days later, man, they called and says, hey, I already got you coming back in 2 weeks, and when you come back in, he says, we're going to pick you up with the lawyer, and we're going to go buy you a house, and then you give your notice, bop, 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 and work for us, and this and that. But he did. He bought me a house, and he moved me. The deal was, I was the first to get moved and get the house and whatever the deal was. But going back and to what was that other question you asked? Some about Angelo. You remember?
Oh, about how powerful the television was.
Oh yeah, television. Yeah. I want to tell you that real fast, brother. It was so strong that once I was there, I stayed 6 months, and Dusty Rhodes now they would now Crockett's calling him. Can we have Boogie Woogie back here for a week or two at a time? See, every month. So I'm back there now, and now every time I get there, they corner me, Dusty and Jimmy, and Dusty's the booker then. And he says, hey, when you coming home, man? We want you back, So they had that TBS, and they wanted me on so bad because when I left, I didn't go back there, and it was a loss, and Turner and the people was writing in, where's the Boogie Woogie, man? We want to see Boogie from all over the world. Well, so they see that, and they want me back. So anyway, I made the deal. I come back in 6 months. So that's how powerful that TV.
Oh my
because
God!
it's all
crazy.
It's all over. Oh my goodness, brother. Yeah,
brother,
that
was nuts. Benny, you got questions for Boogie?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of the last two topics, but Jimmy, the very first turn I ever saw was when you turned on Chief Jay Strongbow. It had to be like around 1970 or 1971, and I was about 15 at the time, and I think you were Gentleman Jimmy Valiant at the time. Very clean-shaven, short hair, very muscular, and I was a kid, and I thought, like, that really didn't happen. That had to be an accident. But I think shortly after that, I think you had the Grand Wizard as your manager. I'm a big baseball fan. And there's a term in baseball called a five-tool player. I think it's hit with power, run, field, throw. And to me, like, there's a four-tool wrestler. It's heel, babyface, single, tag team. And you just seem to seamlessly morph amongst all of them without any effort whatsoever. I know that some of the best heel turns I ever saw was one when you were actually in the Memphis studio with Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee, and you turned heel right on the TV show, which I thought was epic. And then later on, I saw, I think it was Pez Whatley turned on you, and I think also Manny Fernandez turned on you at one point. So people take that for granted, but I think you did that probably better than anybody. And then the question I had was, I know you mentioned the Manhattan Transfer song, but there was also, I think, a song in Memphis called Son of a Gypsy that Jimmy Hart wrote. And I saw a video of you on stage, and you looked like David Lee Roth with Van Halen. And I just want to know, like, did you enjoy that part as well, being on stage?
Oh, you bet I did. This was before MTV, and Jimmy Hart, of course, he was, part of the Gentrys when he was in high school. They went to high school in Memphis. Him and Lawler was in the same high school, but Jimmy was 2 years ahead of them, and they knew of each other, but they weren't buddies. But the thing is, Jimmy was so knowledgeable and about music, and so when Lawler broke his leg, Jared called me in, and I was the king of Memphis. I took his crown and bop, while he was laid up. He was really hurt bad. And so I was the king for the year that he healed, and then he came back, and of course, they stayed. Him and Dundee, they homesteaded there, and I would leave. I'd come in and out, and for 50 years, man, 40 years, and man, still going in, man. Lawler just called me before this all epidemic happened, and he had me booked for a casino with him and Dundee, and of course everything got canceled. They were going to fly me in, and we're going to wrestle at the casino, and then they'd put us up a couple of days, and then they'd fly me back home, but anyway, so I'm still going in, but all this was it just come natural, brother, man, to me, and again, this is all brain child, this is all whoever. Jerry Lawler, brother, what a booker, what a mind this man has, what a mind, I'm telling you. And hey, I've been with them, man. For the 40, 50 years, man. And we would be in either Tupelo, Mississippi, or Blytheville, Arkansas, on every Friday night, because Memphis TV ran that next morning. So they'd bring all the boys, no matter where you were in Tennessee territory, that Thursday night. Friday night, you would either be, and that's close to Memphis, like a couple hours out. So I would ride with the Calhoun, who was the referee there, and he would drive, and I'd be in the front seat, and Lawler would be in the back seat, and he was booking. Him and Jerry Jarrett would take the book 6 months each. Now they were partners there then at that time. So Lawler would do 6 months, and then Jarrett would do 6 months. So give each other breaks, and because that's really on your mind. And Lawler, now I'm sure he's thinking about what he's going to do all week. But you know what? We would get out of Tupelo or Blytheville, Arkansas, and on the way home, and we'd always ride. This is our daylight, because we ride all night. Many nights. Louisville to Memphis. That's 400 miles, man. But this is only a couple hours. So we'd stop. He'd always love to get him a couple burgers and Coke or whatever, and so he'd eat that, and I'd get me maybe a little 6-pack or whatever, and I'd get what I wanted, and anyway, so we're driving home. Well, the lights on, we're talking, he's eating, and then after he ate, he opened his briefcase, and he'd get this pad out, and he would figure out the TV. I'm telling you, within an hour and a half, and have all the commercials, the interviews, the whatever he wanted done that next morning, brother.
Yeah.
And the difference between Lawler and Jerry Jarrett is that Jerry Jarrett, as soon as that TV's over on Saturday, he used to come up in a limousine, have a driver from Nashville, and 200 miles, brother. On the way home, he would be in his briefcase, and he would be thinking, writing stuff down, starting doing the TV, for the following week.
Yeah.
Then every day, just like with Dundee, he would go over there and they would work on it for 5-6 hours a day and
sure.
rework it. So there's a difference in the two. Now, but I'm sure Lawler would be thinking about it all week and roughly know what he's doing. But they wouldn't put none on paper. But Jarrett would start putting stuff on paper Saturday afternoon after the TV for the next Saturday.
And that's a great segue, because I want to ask you about that. But before I do, Jimmy, Benny brought up a couple good points I want to pick up on real quick. And then I want to ask you about that incredible Memphis territory. But Benny had mentioned, going from heel to baby face and, heel turns and baby face turns by other guys. Is there an art form? Walk me through the art form of turning.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be, there has to be some kind of like skill to it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. There's a science to everything, and of course all this is coming out of the Booker, the promoter, the office, and they have it worked out, and you're just like hey man, if you're in a steel mill and your foreman tells you, well, hey, you got to tear this thing down and do this and do that, or even just grab a broom and sweep that up. You do what you're told, and we're all pros, and just like they are, they do the best job they can. They're going to sweep that floor the best they can. Hey, I would do it if that's what how I'm making my living for my family,
right?
How I eat. And for how I can buy clothes and pay the bills for my family. So it's a job, and we're all pros, and this is very, very simple. The whole thing is that myself, my personality, which Angelo knows, because I've known Angelo a long time, it is, and he know my personality. I'm a good guy. I love people. I'm a people person. And when I was a heel, I couldn't be that. Man, I wanted to talk, and I would just pay, like, especially as Handsome Jimmy, I spread around and I just pose and give that pose with my hands on my hips and just look right over their head like I'm better than them.
Exactly.
And that was what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
And oh, brother, I wouldn't have the time of the day. They're underneath me, man. And that's what I projected. But I really wanted to talk to them. I wanted to, man, just hug them, man, and go out and hey, have a beer or do this or do that. It was just, but there wasn't me. But it was my persona at that time, and I did it because this is it's like making a movie, brother, man, and for sure. Hey, you look at all the movies, and how they did, and they would, if it takes it to gain 50 pounds, I know Robert De Niro, man, when he played the bull, hey, he gained 50, 60 pounds when he when he started doing the comedy act and all that, and then he was in real good shape when he's boxing, and when you just do what you gotta do to get that
Jimmy,
over.
Is there a level of psychology involved in that?
Oh, of course. Oh my goodness.
Walk me through that, because we have a guy here. Talking about movies, we got a guy here that that's what he does for a living. He makes movies, and there's got to be some kind of psychology to that. Turning from heel to baby face, or from baby face to heel. There has to be a reason that you do everything. So, walk me through the psychology, and then I'm going to turn it over to our resident filmmaker, Mike Messier.
Great. Yeah, Ange. again, like I said, there's a science to everything, and psychology. To be able to get in that ring, man, either as a heel or a baby face, and it takes so many years to learn this. That I could, and I'm not bragging, but I mastered how to bring the people out of their seats. I mean, just screaming, either mad at me or clapping and crying and going crazy for me, at will when I want to do that, and it takes so many years of learning this trade, how to do that, and then at will I can sit them right back down in their seats, down, brother, either as a heel or a baby face, and that's what it takes, some boys, I'll tell you, just to get the psychology of our business, and takes at least 5 years, brother. There's no hot shot. You can't.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. Yeah. You just touched on something that, and people who watch this show, they know, man. That's the one thing that I touch on every show: the psychology. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? What's the reason for this? What's the reason for that?
Right.
I promoted for 24 years.
Yes, you did.
And I always told my guys, if you're going to do something, I don't care how outrageous it is, I will approve it as long as you can explain to me why you're doing what you're doing and what the result is. And you don't see that anymore, Boogie. So, and that's why, like, somebody like you, when you have a guy like, handsome Jimmy Valiant, and you got a chance to pick his brain, you would be crazy not to. So that's why I want people to listen to what you're saying. Because that's gone. Today it's gone, Boogie.
It is. I agree. And like I said, it takes 5 years. I'm telling you to make this all come together. It's like two big wheels, two big gears, and you can just, they're rolling, and they're, the gears got to match exactly to make that full circle, together without, and it's just got to be like a machine, man. And if you don't get it within 5 years, you may never get it. You may never get it. You may get to a point where that is your level. I've seen it happen in our business, in the movie business, and they'll stay at that level. And then you get the boys that just continue getting better and continue, even veterans, man, they just continue their craft, and they're just blowing the stuff right out of the water. I mean, it's just, how in the world can this guy get this this good and continue getting good? Exactly. And then there's just this one level person, and there's nothing that you can do. It's got to be in you, man. It just gotta, you gotta be born with it, and you develop it. It's just like a body, it's working out. Hey, you're either built, man, with real wide shoulders as girt as when you're you're born, and a small waist and hips and that, or you're built, with the big hips and this and that, but even if you have real high calves, skinny, like a racehorse, and you can't build them calves, but you can take your body and you can develop it to the full potential of what you have that God gave you. Exactly. And you can have a great body, man, a great body.
Yeah.
By just doing that, and that is what it's all about. You got to continue improving, and I'm learning. So I'm almost 80 years old, brother. And I learn stuff every day of my life,
I'm
even
telling
in
you
my business. Yeah, you continue, and you
Yeah.
want to. You're hungry. You don't stop, man. You don't stop, brother.
Boy,
You
there's
just
no
keep
no
cooking.
signs of you slowing down. I'll tell you what, brother. I'm
hey,
telling
hey,
you know
I'm
what?
following you, Angel.
Bro, you like the Energizer Bunny. I think the Energizer Bunny is envious of Boogie.
There you go, baby.
Mikey Messier, talk to Jimmy Valiant.
Jimmy, I'd have to ask you. One of the fans, the hardcore Mid Atlantic fans like myself and John Hancock from the Parts Unknown comic book store. We'd have to ask you about that epic 4-year feud with Paul Number One Jones. Before that, the Assassins and shaving your beard and the Boogie Woogie Man Jam. But could you speak on some of those kind of like for a time in 1984, Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant versus the Assassins? Maybe start there. That was just an epic feud. Can you speak on that Assassins versus Jimmy Valiant and Paul Jones as the manager? Can you speak on that feud and what it meant to you and how big that was?
You bet, yes, sir. Thanks, Mikey, for that question. Great talking to you, brother. Again, this was out of Dusty Rhodes' brain, and what we did. How this thing got over so strong is when the Assassins, they tied me up in rope in the TV station, and we did, and when they cut the beard off and they kept it, and where they'd come out and do interviews and this big old beard in this plastic bag, and they'd wave it and laugh and all that, and so I disappeared. I disappeared for 3 weeks, and no one knew where I was, and they said, he's ashamed to show his face, and we have the beard right here and all this, and the whole thing was, brother, that here is the thing right here, Mikey, is every interview that I do, I come out wide open, man. Oh, blessed daddy, booger man, feel good. I tell people, all my brothers and sisters, this is how I talk, in these interviews, is I just smoke it out, man. I'm just crazy, man, and the people love it, and got over. Well, here now, when they find me, I'm on Skid Row, baby. I'm sitting there on the curb, man, wine bottles all over, with people, and I'm with the street people, man, and I'm sitting there, man, in an old big fur coat, and I'm playing the blues and playing the harmonica, man, and they find me. The camera finds me. They're looking for me, man, and they ask me, "Oh man, Boogie, we found you," and I have no beard, man, and clean shaved, man, not clean, but the beard's gone, and I'm sitting there, and so that's when I did an interview. But here's the kicker right here, Mikey, is when instead of doing this high volume, man, 1,000 octane interview that they hear for 4 years, and or with Crockett, I was there 7 years, man. 7 years they hear this, man. Every interview, man. I'm smoking, brother, out there, with this the real strong interview. But now, they got the blues playing, and they interview me, and I start out. I don't know what I said, but I start out like something like Boogie Man's low. Boogie Man, low as you can go, And I say, what? But I'm talking like this. I'm talking real slow, real low, and the people, they're shocked. They have never heard me talk like that, slow and low, and they were so glad to see me. But oh man, they were just glued to the TV. Their eyes got big, and it box office stuff, man. And you know, and I told him, I says, you know, the Paul Jones, the assassin, they took something that belonged to me, you know. Exactly. It was mine, you know, and now I have nothing left to give, you know, nothing else but the hair on my head, you know, and I took my cowboy hat off or whatever I had on. I remember the interview sitting there on the curb, and I'd grab my hair, but I had real long blonde hair, and I'd pull it up, and I says, you know, hey, I want one more shot, man, you know, hey, an assassin, hey, you know, if you win, you cut every head on my hair. You just take it all, man. And if I win, hey, I'm going to hold that mask in my right hand. So it was mask against hair. And the people had to see either me get shaved or who the assassin is. This was so hot. It was such a genius deal. And the kicker was that how I was talking, it was a shock. It was a shock. And so it was a serious thing. And then, you know, I included the people, Angie, and Angie, and I says, you know, I want all my peoples, you know, to jam the boxes, you know, jam the you know, to come, and I says, we will do this together.
I remember
Boogie
that.
Man Jam '84.
I remember that, brother.
It was red hot. It broke records. It did
epic.
box off.
Epic.
Everywhere we went.
And you know what they call that? That's called psychology, people.
There you go.
That's called psychology.
There you go.
Boogie, I got Benny and I got questions for you about that amazing territory called Memphis. Now, I'm going to start off by asking you. We had Bill Dundee on here last week, and Bill is, first of all, I could sit and listen to him and you for hours, okay?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I said 5 words the whole interview. Because all you got to do is say hello, Bill, and he's off to the races.
You bet he is.
But that Memphis territory, they had 2 things going for it that were over like Rover. Number 1, they had Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, they had Memphis Television. That television was absolutely incredible. They tell me, and you would know because you were there, but they tell me that Memphis Television, when wrestling was on in Memphis, nobody in town watched anything but wrestling.
That's true.
Every eyeball went to Channel 5.
That's true.
What was it about Memphis, Tennessee, that even today, Boogie, even today in 2020, Memphis is such a colossal hotbed of wrestling? What is it about this area?
Well, I'll tell you exactly. They did, and Dundee will tell you, Lawler will tell you, Jared will tell you. They had the best, the hottest rating of any show on all the channels in Memphis. When wrestling was on from 11 to 12:30, we did an hour tape live, and then we would do a 30-minute longer for just hard sell Monday night Coliseum. You know, so we do an hour and a half show. But the hour show we taped would be bicycle to all the other towns, you know, that was see. But the whole thing was that whole Memphis, Tennessee is right on the Mississippi River. Right over the river, man, you're in Arkansas, then there's Missouri, it go into, and then it go into Mississippi, and of course all of Tennessee, and you know, so we had the hotbed, all them Southern people, man, you know, in 4 states, man, that would come to the Coliseum every Monday. You know, Angelo, we did more money, more people, and actual money than Madison Square Garden did.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I said that on the last show I did with Bill.
Yes, sir.
People don't understand this.
No.
And I want people, Boogie, to understand this, that what you and I are telling them is the truth.
Yes.
That Memphis, Tennessee, every month, not once a month, every week.
Four times.
Every single week, the
Yes,
Memphis Mid-South Coliseum was sold out.
Yes.
Sold out. On a Monday. We're not, and Boogie, we're not talking about Friday night wrestling or Saturday night wrestling.
Monday, man.
Exactly,
Monday night.
Brother. Monday night, brother.
Angie, and the whole deal was, see, the Madison Square Garden, WWWF would run only once a month. That's the only reason why we beat them, and the Madison Square Garden held 23,000 people, man,
right.
and the Memphis Coliseum, held 11 or whatever. Well, 11 times 4 is what? 44. So we're doing more people and more money a month. Now, just because now Madison Square Garden ran every Saturday, or Friday or whatever, then of course they would do more. But we beat them because we were doing. I'm talking about monthly, take in.
Yeah.
And it'd sell out, brother, man. And here's the funny thing. And I'm telling you, brother, you'd be at Memphis and don't never go out at 7:30 to look out at 7:30, 9:30, brother. They give them a 2-hour show, and it was a kicking show because people had to go to work.
Yeah.
They had to go, to school. They had to go, so you couldn't keep them late, man. And they just
exactly.
them. Yeah, but
that's
here's the whole thing.
But do you know what it takes to get 11, 12,000 people to come out on a Monday night?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is. And the whole thing is, and you ask Bill next time, say, don't never go out when that first match is on and look at the, we wouldn't even go out until after, after the in between the first and second intermission, and then take a look. Because if you go out at 7:30, because they're coming in, and it's like, oh man, this is a bad house tonight. Oh geez, it break your heart, and so don't even look. But you look, brother, after the second intermission, sold out because people wanted to see the last 2-3 matches in the main event. Of course, see,
exactly.
That's what they plugged, and that's what they want to see. And the beginning, nothing to do with the preliminaries, because they were good kids and good matches and that. And there was a lot of people there for that, but a lot of people, man, it's like the racetrack, man. If you go to the racetrack and you see, man, they start racing, 4, 5, 6 races, maybe they got 9, 10 races, or, however, for the night. Well, you know what? Man, they're coming and going all the time, but all night they're coming, man. That racetrack it'll be jam time, because they save the good races till the end, because they want to hold the ones that comes early, but then you get the late crowd. So that's exactly about Memphis, Tennessee.
Exactly.
So you get you'd hold the people that wanted to see the whole show, but then you'd get the people just come in for the main event, just like the track. They'd come in for the big money, for the big races.
Exactly.
And there you go, baby.
Well, go ahead, Benny. You got it, brother.
Okay, perfect segue, because you're talking about big box office. And this question, Jimmy, I've waited 33 years to ask somebody, believe it or not. Back in the late 80s, when the Honky Tonk Man appeared in WWF, and he won the belt from Ricky Steamboat, the Intercontinental title, one of the very first things that I thought of was, man, can you imagine if Jimmy Valiant came in as the Boogie Woogie Man and to feud with the Honky Tonk Man they would have sold out everywhere. And I'm just wondering, was that ever a possibility?
It was, and I'll tell you exactly. Of course, the honky tonk man, Wayne Ferris, and he was one of the Hollywood Blondes. He teamed up with the one of the Moondogs, and be the Hollywood Blonde. But that was Lawler's first cousin. And he came out of Memphis, and he idolized me, man. And this kid would make trips together and all this, and I just loved him, man. Wayne Ferris, and he's a Tennessee boy right there. But in the '80s, when of course Vince McMahon, Senior died, and Vince Junior, but he you ain't gotta call it Junior no more. It's like Hank Williams, man. He sings a song, about his daddy. He was a big star, and they tried to do that, but he went his own way, and he went as for forever, Hank Williams Jr. But he sung the song and wrote it, and he says you don't have to call Hank Williams Jr. anymore, because he made it on his own. And same with Vince McMahon Jr. They called him Junior. His father called him Junior. We all call him Junior. When I came in 70, he wasn't even there. He was still in college, or he was doing something. When I came back, me and Johnny in 73 and 4 as the tag team champions, he was commentating, and everybody called him Junior, and because he was Vince McMahon Jr. Well, then in 78, when all three of the Valiant brothers, Jim and Jerry and Lucious Johnny and Handsome Jimmy, we were there, and then he was still commentating. But when his father died in 80 to whatever, 82, whatever it was, then Vince McMahon, Jr. But you didn't have to. It didn't take long. You don't have to call Vince McMahon Jr. anymore, because he made it on his own, man. Exactly. He just took over the whole world, man. God bless
he sure
him.
did.
And yeah, he did. And they inducted me and me and Johnny and Captain Lou in '96 for the WWE Hall of Fame, and I thank him so much. I'm so honored. But the thing is that he did call me, and Benny, and he called me to come in, and that was possibly around that time, and there was many reasons why I didn't. One thing was that I just got back from leaving 6 months, going to Lawler when they bought, and to Jared when they bought me the house, and then I just came back, and I just signed a 3-year contract with the Crockett's. So I was I couldn't leave. I was binded, by this contract, and so but he did. He called, and so I couldn't leave. But otherwise I would have, and I think it was possibly around that time. And I would just love to work with Wayne Ferris, man.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you what,
man.
You know what, Jimmy? He's a guy that I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He's really one of the most underrated guys, performer-wise. He really is. He deserved, I think a lot more than what he got.
You bet.
You
bet. I do.
What we're going to do right now is something little different. We're actually going to take a look at a match. So, yeah, I'm going to ask Mikey and Benny to hang in there with me a second, because we're going to take a look at this match here, and we're going to do a little live commentary. This is Handsome Jimmy versus Dusty Rhodes at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
There we go.
It's two of the most
Can you see that,
charismatic.
Benny?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great.
Two of the most charismatic individuals in the sport, at different times two of the most popular guys, but I have to say that at this juncture, Dusty Rhodes is kind of coming in, maybe from a loan from Eddie Graham to Madison Square Garden, possibly a talent trade with someone like Andre the Giant from Vince McMahon Sr. And Dusty's the kind of guest baby face against the resident heel, handsome
And
Jimmy
what I'm
Valiant.
watching here, Jimmy, is the way you're selling to Dusty.
Right.
It's amazing.
And that's Vince McMahon Jr. commentating. That's when, he was commentating. And so that must have been in 78-ish or 9 or 79 probably.
1979. Madison Square Garden.
There you go. And I was just getting ready to leave, and Dusty, they would bring him in from Florida. He was the booker for Eddie Graham, which was right, that what he said, and they would trade talent, Dusty, brother, man, he had.
And it's amazing because you guys haven't even touched yet, and you're selling like you're beating the hell out of each other.
There you go, man. There you see, it's all psychology, just like you talked about, and it's all charisma.
Yeah.
It's all, and the people were going crazy, man.
Oh my God.
Because we could. Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. I mean, here you got 20,000 people, probably 25,000 people at the Garden.
Right.
Or whatever it is there, but the place is packed. You got
it fell out.
Nothing fancy. Two guys wearing black tights. You got Boogie's got his long flowing blonde hair. You just had the white beard just starting to grow. And here Dusty just pats you on the ass.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
so easy, brother.
I think you were one of the first people that actually put stuff on the back of their tights.
And the people don't, they're just into it, and they hated me and loved Dusty, it was like taking candy from a baby. It can be like Angelo. A match can be like pulling teeth, man, or it can be like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah.
It can be so easy, or you can make it so difficult. That someone can, but the two pros and two guys that really respect and like each other, brother, man. Hey, it's so much fun, and people don't know. They're just into it, and they just enjoying themselves, getting their money's worth, baby.
Absolutely.
They come back.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Benny.
No, I said I think Jimmy was a trendsetter. Jimmy was the first guy that I saw that had writing on his trunks, and I think when he first turned heel, he would have like first class on the back of his trunks, and then he would have like sweet, and then a picture of a heart on his jacket.
Saying that you're the first guy that he ever saw that had writing on the back of his trunks.
Yeah, it's true. I started, and I would think of stuff, like what was hot, Star Wars came out with that big first. So I put Star Wars on the back of my, my trunks, and I just think of stuff, and then I had some trunks on the back on the back end, and I'd put Kiss My, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just think of stuff, and I'd have it in, the sewed on or embroidered or whatever, stars down there, or I'd put whatever. Yeah. And see, you got to be different. Like I said, when I started with the Boogie, the Boogeyman, start kissing and dancing and hugging and all that, and come out to music. And I was one of the first to come out to music too.
Yeah.
I don't take credit, but the Grand Wizard, as someone mentioned earlier in the show, when I turned on Strongbow, which was a real hot deal, and then they were getting me ready for Morales. Pedro, God bless them, we just lost them, and God bless them. And but they was getting ready for shots for him, the world champion. And the thing was with Strongbow, when that happened, it was just a natural thing. People just yeah. Oh man, the hottest. He was number 2 next to Bruno, man.
I know. It's crazy,
number
isn't it?
2. Yeah, babyface, man, the hottest thing ever. And then we were partners for 6 months, and when I turned on him, it was red hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey, walk Boogie through what we're seeing right now.
Well, we're seeing Jimmy corner Dusty Rhodes in the corner of the ring, so to speak, and pounding on his head. And Dusty has mounted in a defensive position. Dusty is kind of in the corner with one leg over the top rope as Jimmy kind of chokes. The referee intervenes, and one thing I would say is, back in the day when the Jimmy's whipping Dusty into the ropes, going for a back body drop, Dusty kicked him in the chest. Dusty with the flying elbow, hooks the leg. 1, 2.
Oh, that looked like a fast count to me, bro.
That looked like a fast count.
That looked like a fast count to me. I don't know.
One, like I said, I jump in there maybe on the psychology tip, Jimmy, is that
Jimmy, I have to tell you, man, I think you got screwed out of that victory. It looked like that ref was counting a little too fast.
Yeah, I think Dusty must have gave him a few $100 bills there before they went out, man. Hey, money talks and bull jive walks. You know that, baby.
Well, let me tell you, you're talking a little bit ago about, having a title run. I want to, a little excerpt from your book, page 209, that you were getting ready for a singles run. I guess Vince was getting ready to strap a rocket to your butt. He was getting ready to build you up to the number 1 contender spot. And so it's Johnny and Jerry are now the tag team. You're separated from the other 2 guys now to go into a single run with the champion. What happened that you ended up not getting that championship opportunity?
Well, I did have maybe half a dozen shots with Backlund at that time. He was the world champion,
right?
And the thing was they put us together as a 6-way. All over the Valiant brothers, all 3, first time, or before even the Birds, at any given night, I would come out with them and, Captain Lou and whatever, and any of us could work out, slip in there, get in there, and, have matches. And although they were the WWWF World Champions, we were just like the Freebirds did a few years later,
right?
And the Freebirds, Hayes came out to music and made a record. After I did, and
sure.
I'm not taking nothing away from him because, hey, I love that kid, man, and what talent and all, but.
Well, I want to tell everybody about your book before we go on too much further, Jimmy.
Thank you.
But I'm holding the book up now. The book is called "Woo Mercy Daddy." Welcome to my world, the Jimmy Valiant Story, WWE Hall of Famer. And I am always grateful to Jimmy every time I promote his book because I am on page 564 of
yes,
Boogie's
sir,
book,
you are.
And I appreciate that mention.
You bet.
So now I'm immortalized in print alongside the greats like Bruno and Pedro and Bob Backlund and of course all the legends that you've worked with and against over the years. But I want everybody to know that it's still available. You can get it directly from Jimmy Valiant himself. And just email me. It's jimmyvaliant@outlook.com. Is that right, Jimmy?
That's right. Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you
can
so
also
much.
get it on jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. That's jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. And you can go there for everything Jimmy Valiant. It's all available there. I wanted to make sure to get that in because, sometimes
Thank you.
I get so wrapped up doing the interview, I forget to promote the product and the website.
Oh, yeah. Or you can go to Angel. Hey, baby, what's the book on Amazon? Or you go Amazon. They sell it on Amazon. So
all right.
just look up, wrestling book on Amazon, Jimmy Valiant.
Beautiful.
Or eBay, and our website. Yes, sir.
Terrific.
And
now, if they go to
book,
jimmyvaliant.weebly.com, you have all the links on your website for Amazon and eBay and all. You have all the links there, right, Jimmy?
I do on that. Yeah, jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. There's 2 dots in there. Yeah, or Jimmy Valiant at outlook.com.
And so they just go to jimmyvaliant.weebly.com and they can get your email, send for your book. They can buy it right there. Everything Jimmy Valiant.
You bet.
Right on jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. Now, Mike Messier, go ahead, brother.
Well, Jimmy, it's just an honor to talk with you today. One thing I was going to say about that Dusty Rhodes match, how Dusty kind of mounted the turnbuckle. It was so that the people in the cheap seats, so to speak, or in the less expensive seats in the arena could see what was going on. Because back in the day, the wrestlers were really playing to the arena crowd, perhaps more so than the TV audience. And Jimmy, just as a veteran of so many years of the wrestling business, have you seen an evolution of the way that the performers, the wrestlers, compete, difference from the live arena to the TV TV audience is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It was so when I started out in the early '60s. Man, they had just one camera, and when that red light comes on, you light up, you come on, and we're all pros, and we know what to say and do, and this is our business, if you got a cage match, you know what to talk about, man. Hey, there's no running, no jiving, no peeping, no nothing. You can't leave, man. You got to get out of that cage, or you want to kick some can, or jump out, or roll over, go over the top, through the door, whatever it takes, whatever kind of match it is. So we know what to do, and the promoters, they would, if they wanted something specific, to end this interview, they would come and buzz you. But usually they didn't. Man. They just, let you go, because we're all pros, and this is how, we do our business. But what would happen, Angelo, what I would do, if they would come and tell me something to do Pacific, because we just ad lib, and do our deal.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is I would get it out right off the bat, while it's fresh in my mind. My brain cells, man. Who knows what I was doing the night before? And the thing is, I would knock that out for them, and for that reason, because they had a reason for telling me something, because they don't come and tell nobody much, unless you're real green. If you're just starting out and getting a break, now they'll tell you a lot of stuff. But the pros, they wouldn't say much unless they wanted something really to be over strong. So I'd hit that right off the bat. And as soon as I got that done, boom, then I'd go into an ad lib and finish however many minutes I had or whatever, and then they give me the countdown, and then boom,
Yeah.
But when that light turned on, we turn on. But then later on, like now, brother, they have 5-6 cameras, so we had to play Yeah, we had to plate it at one camera.
Well, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. Along that line, it ties into what you're talking about. You talk a minute ago about cutting promos. You guys were basically given what you're saying is like bullet points, right?
Yeah. If they yes.
And so now, instead of like having like a small little guideline to go by, now these guys they have to memorize, scripts with promos in it.
Yeah.
That they're being written by people who've never been in a ring, who've never wrestled, trying to write promos for guys who do wrestle.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a problem with that on many, many levels.
Yeah,
From your standpoint, having been around this business for 7 consecutive decades, tell everybody what the hell is wrong with the art. What happened to the art of the wrestling promo?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we're all pros. We know what it is, what type of match it is, whatever. If it's a chain match, if it's a, hey, if you tar and feather match, it's a ladder match, whatever it is, scaffold match, it's a lumberjack match. But we know how to promote it and get it over. And,
exactly.
And yeah, exactly. So, but you're right. You're right, man. They have to memorize, and that's what they have them there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And man, they give them whatever it is, and they have to go over and over. Man, you got to really be sharp, man. I don't know. It's like making a movie, man. But you're going to make a movie every time you do it, and but the whole thing is a different thing is, it is especially like Memphis TV was live, man. We do that live, brother. If you mess up,
and you know what? And Boogie, that's the one thing. And thank you for saying that, because Bill Dundee, when he was here, said exactly what you just said. It was live. You could not go back and do a second take. Once you did it, 20 million people saw it. That was it.
No. Yeah. You had to keep going. If you messed up and knew it, you just kept cooking, man, and cooked it out and got it done. And you can't stop. Like you made a mistake. You play like, hey, that's what you meant to say. In other words, you just had to keep going, and so it's not like a movie. They will have you do walk from here to the door, and you turn around and say, hey, good night, my man. See you tomorrow, brother, or whatever. They would have you walk and say that one line, maybe 15 takes, and then, they got it all, and he had enough, and then they go to another, short segment.
Exactly.
And you would do that 15 times. And then when they look at all, they take the best one, or they do it till they think they got one, and all that other just ends up on the floor, and if it's no good, they just cut it out altogether. But the thing is, us, brother, hey, it's a one-time take, like interviews or whatever. Hey, man, people like, you're an old pro, and I love you so much, and we don't have to say nothing. We just start talking, man. It flows, but a lot of radio people or whatever, they say, well, is there anything you don't want me to answer? Man, ask me anything. Hey, well, can we do this? Do what you want. Hey, just have fun, man. In other words, I don't want no script, man. I don't want to know what you're going to ask me.
Right. Hey, well, it's like I said at the beginning of the show.
There you go.
I tell people we talk that let's call it in the ring, Jimmy. Let's call it in the ring.
There you go. See that now? You know it, brother. And that's you were such a good promoter, man. So you knew your boys, and you had it together, man. And I always enjoyed working with you. And you're the best. And
Benny,
you got the
go
best
ahead and
radio.
talk to Boogie. Benny, go ahead, brother.
Okay, and this kind of goes along with what you guys were talking about. So I don't really, and Angelo and I have discussed this. I don't really watch much of the current product for a variety of reasons, and one of them is the lack of managers. Managers, it's a lost art. When I first started watching, I guess it was in late '67. I'm trying to jog my memory here. I think they had Wild Red Berry, Homer Odell, and I'm trying to think of the other guy. Wild Red Berry, Homer Odell, and there was one other one. Bobby Davis was the other one.
Oh, Bobby Davis, was the manager of Buddy Rogers.
When Jimmy, I think if memory serves me right, you worked with Bobby Heenan, the Grand Wizard, and Lou Albano. But what struck me about you was you were the first heel wrestler that I thought really didn't need a manager because you were so good talking on your own. A lot of the guys that, back in the day, they needed that manager because they really weren't as adept on the mic as you were. So did you prefer working with a manager or flying solo?
Yeah, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Benny, it's so cool because I was so easy, and I'm easy today. And me and my wife, Angel, God bless her, I just love her so much. And we've been together 30 years, and we've never had a argument. And I tell people that. And I talk about in my book, and Angelo knows. And they say, "Oh, come on, Boogie, that ain't right. I mean, that can't be." And I said, "It is, brother, man." I said, "I ain't got time for that, man, because I'm real easy, she's easy, and we just give each other space, brother, and we just do our thing, man, and do it together, do it. It's so cool." So that's the difference. It is your personality, your Benny. What was that question, that thing again there?
Manager. Was asking about managers.
And did you prefer a manager? Did you prefer without a manager?
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I mean. See, I'm so easy that wherever I went, they wanted to give me a manager. Great, man. Yeah. I do what I'm told, and that's why, I worked all the great characters, and I did all this without brown nosing and trying to, I just do my job the best I could. Hey, there was guys that could outwork me, brother. You take the bigger, fantastic bumps. I'm telling you, I know, but I had something there, and that was one thing was that I never gave anybody, any of the bosses, the promoters, the bookers, any kind of aggravation, or I never questioned nothing. I do what I saw. Dick the Bruiser, God bless him, my mentor. When he passed away, his wife Reno, she told me, she says, "Jimmy," she says, I want to tell you something. Dick told me so many times that he wished that he had 20 of Jimmy Valiants in his territory. You never gave him one bit of lip aggravation. You were always on time, early in fact. You were always, did the best you could. You worked hard. He just loves you. He just loves you, son. He says he wished that he had 20 of you your type in his territory.
Yeah.
And so there, Benny. If they want me with the manager, hey, it's their decision. They're my boss. They're feeding me. They're paying my check. They're doing it. See, and if they didn't want me, and even then I talked, but let them talk. Let them get their thing over and get me over, and then I just stand there and look cocky and whatever and.
Boogie, Benny mentioned a couple names there that Mike Messier wants to pick up on. He mentioned, of course, the Grand Wizard, Ernie Roth, Lou Albano, Fred Blassie, Bobby Davis,
Bobby
You know,
Heenan.
great managers like that. Bobby Heenan. Go ahead, Mikey. Talk to Boogie about the managers.
Well, Jimmy Valiant. I mean, it makes me think of when I was a kid. The Big Three. They were called the Big Three: Captain Lou Albano, Classy Freddie Blassie, and the Grand Wizard. And the debate was who is the best evil manager of the WWF. Do you have any vote on that, Jimmy, from your perspective?
All three of them were great. Two of them managed me. Blassie never did manage me, but Grand Wizard, of course, and then he sold my contract when I brought Johnny back in to Captain Lou Albano, and then we had Captain the third time I came in, I started out with Bobby Heenan for Bruiser, and it was just I was so fortunate to have the best managers ever. I'm telling you, in our business, and even the short time Alfred, Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh yeah.
What a great manager.
There's another name you don't hear anymore, Boogie. Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yep. You bet, and it was just a blessing to be part of that era, and now there is no managers hardly,
I know.
I think, yeah, and it's one of the lost,
Yeah, we
things of
talked
our
about
business.
that on the show the other night. It really is, like you just said, a lost art form, and there are guys now. Very few people are the total package. Very few people can talk and look good and work. Back in your day, you had to, like we talked about on the first show that we did, you had to be able to do everything.
You bet.
Now, these guys now, I think, are spoiled because they don't have to do anything but work.
Yeah.
Because all their words are scripted for them. But I'm going to put you on the spot. And you and I never talked about this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a Captain Lou Albano story that you could tell on the air. Mm-hmm. That's clean.
Okay. Okay. We, me and Johnny, Vince McMahon, Senior, God bless him, he had us booked for the Joe Franklin show, and Joe had his own TV. You bet, the best, man. TV.
Yeah, I worked for Joe Franklin. He was my boss.
Oh, he was? Oh,
yeah,
great,
I worked
man.
for Joe Franklin. I was his talent coordinator.
Oh, God bless you, man. And
God bless me is right.
Yeah, I know. So Captain Lou, it was a real nice day, and his show was on at 10 to 11, and during the week in New York, and so we stayed at the Edison Hotel at all the boys did. And so we was going to meet downstairs at 9 because they wanted us there at 10, and we started the show started live at 11. So we left at 9 that morning, and we was going to catch a cab, and it was only like 3 blocks or whatever, but it was a beautiful day, and Captain says, let's just walk. So here's the Valiant brothers walking down Manhattan, man, to the Franklin show, to his TV studio, and out there we got blonde hair. I'm like 250, and Johnny's 260. Captain Lou's 320, with black hair, and he's got the rubber bands stuck through his cheeks, and here we got the big blonde hair, and people can, God bless, walk over people that's laying in the sidewalks, whatever, and they don't know if they're dead or what. They just walk over. They don't even pay any attention to nothing. But brother, we turn heads, And Captain always carries this little. He's got a little handbag satchel and one of them little green Samsonite suitcases, and the only thing he had in there was a fifth of Fleshman whiskey, man, and bourbon whiskey, and a machete. and that's what he carried. I'm telling you, every day.
Yep.
And so now this is 9 o'clock in the morning. So every stoplight, we stop at, at the block, and we're waiting or what. He would open that up, and he'd take that fifth, and he'd drink it like a quart of beer. He'd go. That's how he could do it. And man, he'd put the thing, and he'd always say, open your mouth or open your gums or look out, stomach, here it comes or whatever. He had a little ritual. He'd say, and then we'd go to the next corner. He'd stop, and it won't go. Open your gun. Here's look out, stomach, here it comes. Boom. And he would stop at the next one, and hey, time we got there, man, he had 3/4 of that fifth gone, man. I'm telling you, straight now. And so he's whacked out. 9 o'clock in the morning, Jack. And so now it's 10 o'clock. We're in the green room, and here in the green room, Martha McRae's there. She's there to do a play. Melba Moore's there to do another movie star to do. She just wrote a children's book, and she was promoting that. They had the circus was in town. They had a couple of juggling clowns.
Oh,
these are all of us people going to be on his show to promote whatever.
Yeah.
We all promoting something, and we had the Valiant Brothers and Captain Lou. Well, here comes the producer's helper, whatever, and he had a clipboard, and he goes over to Sheila McRae and Hollywood, hugs and kisses, all they do, and then Melba did the same, and he greeted the circus clowns, and then he turns to us. We're on the other side, and by ourselves in the green room, and he says, he looked at his clipboard, you must be the Valiant Brothers, and you must be Captain Joe. And Captain Lou, he calls him Captain Joe. Captain Lou says, what? What did you say? Captain Joe? Captain Joe? Because he's drunk, see? I'll give you Captain Joe. And that guy freaked out. He dropped his clipboard and honestly screamed, man, like a woman, and ran out of that room. Boom, ran. Okay, I said, oh boy, and now we're getting ready to go on. The show's ready to start pretty soon, and so I told Sheila, I said, hey, everything's fine. We'll take care of our own, which we did, and then in about 15 minutes till 11, here comes another guy, and he comes over to us, and he says, can I talk to the Valiant Brothers? And he talks to me and John. He says, Joe Franklin says that you all can come on, but Captain Lou, he'd rather for him just stay in the green room. And I said, well, let me talk it over with Captain, and so we all got our heads together real fast, and Lou. Because I says, Lou, it's your call. We're walking, or because we're together. That's how we took care of each other. And he says, no, you got to go, because he calls Vince McMahon the old man. He said, oh no, the old man, he'll fire me. He'll get mad. I know. No. You guys go. So I said, you sure? Yep. So I said, no. Tell Joe we're sorry, and we'll do that. We're coming. Well, real fast. We went on, did the show, everything was great. Well, we leave, and it's so funny because when we got inducted, Angelo, in 1996 in WWE Hall of Fame, who presented us was Tony Gurria, which we had a great run with him and Dean Ho, in 74. Okay, well, who inducted Captain Lou was Joe Franklin, man.
Exactly.
And Joe was there to promote his book. But the thing was, I read his book. I read his book and Joe Franklin, and it was, he never mentioned that, but I mentioned that in my book. I tell the story.
Yeah.
But he said that the one man that was on more times, something like 78 times or something, his show, more than anybody that he ever had on it was Captain Lou
Captain
Albano.
Yep,
So
sure was.
after that, they got real tight, and Captain Lou came on with all of his stars, when we left, and all of his boys and all that, and he didn't drink, when he went there.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that just shows you, man. It's so funny, how things work out. You know
well,
what I mean?
I'll tell you what, brother. We could go on, for another 2-3 hours, but I got to let you go.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank
I
you
love
so
you
much
so much.
for
Thank
joining
you,
us
sir.
on the show. Boogie, I love you. I appreciate you.
Oh,
So
you
on
too, sir.
behalf of Mike and Benny, I thank you, and I will. I'll touch base with you tomorrow. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. God bless you all, man.
You got it, my friend.
Man,
Thanks, Jimmy.
God bless you.
WWE Hall of Famer, the one and only Handsome Jimmy, the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, everybody. Jimmy, thank you so
Woo,
much.
my
You are a
man.
welcome guest here anytime. Anytime you
Thank
want.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Boogie.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Give my best to Miss Angel.
I sure will. Thank you,
Thank you,
Angelo.
brother.
Thank
Love
you,
you.
sir. Love
Take
you,
care.
man.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Jimmy.
All right.
Amazing.
How about that, fellas?
Well, he's a great guy.
So,
And,
Benny, your first time out with us. What do you think, kid?
I loved it. It was like Christmas, Easter, and 4th of July for me.
Beautiful. Now I don't have to buy you nothing.
No, absolutely not.
Beautiful. Mikey,
it's such a pleasure to
what do you
talk to.
think, kid?
Well,
That
it's
was
just
a really good interview, I thought.
he's what comes to mind with Jimmy Valiant is just young at heart. I mean, this guy sounds like he's 25 years old.
And he never stops, man.
Yeah, and
he's 79 years old.
I guess I would have liked to have maybe in a follow up just ask him: is he still training wrestlers there in Virginia, Angelo?
He
What's the
is.
status?
Yeah, Boogie's wrestling camp.
Okay, so everyone,
BWC.
He'll be back again. Yeah, BWC. Yeah, he'll be back again for sure.
and that's in Southern Virginia, right? Chesapeake.
It's actually in Shawsville, Virginia.
Okay, so if
It's
there's
pretty well smack dab right in the middle of the state.
so if that's my home state as well, Virginia. So if people
Yeah.
want to know where they can go to get trained, there's there's Lance Storm's Academy, which Brian Pillman Jr. went to. Brian talked about that. But if you're looking for Jimmy to be a trainer, and I'm sure there's other people who come in and out with an expertise, and I've heard there's goats on the farm, and I'm not sure if Jimmy and his wife are vegetarians or vegans, Angelo. I think I've heard rumors of that.
I
But
think he is, actually.
yeah, so I think if people are looking for a great place to learn about professional wrestling,
That's the Boogie's Wrestling Camp. That's the place to
And
go.
he's got that great Hall of Fame, too.
It's on. Oh my God, the Hall of Fame. That's a whole nother story. Please, we could do a show just on his Hall of Fame. Have you ever, Mikey? Have you ever seen Boogie's Hall of Fame?
no, I haven't.
Oh
but
my God!
when
It's crazy.
when we're clear to travel, maybe I'll arrange to stop by because it would be on my way up north on the 95 North.
Literally, Mikey, every square inch is covered with photos.
Wow.
Every square inch. He's got his wrestling tights from different decades, his boots, championship belts, photos with other wrestlers, celebrities, fans. He's got a concession stand there. You can buy stuff. You just go on to his website, jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. He's got everything there. Amazing photos too. Well, Benny, we're going to have you back again. That was very good.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I thought it might be a treat for you. Well, tell everybody where they can reach Benny Scala. Give all your social, your plugs, anything you want to promote.
Okay. Email BennyJScala@yahoo.com. And I'm a simple guy. I'm just on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram, but it's just Benny, BennyScala, Benny Scala on Facebook. And I've made a lot of friends in the wrestling community over the past several years, both of you guys included, and I just love to talk wrestling with anybody.
Well, I tell you what, we picked a good one for you to do it with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a humble guy, too.
Well, you know what? I might have you back on when we do Bill Dundee Part 2. He's a character.
I was in my car listening to that podcast, cracking up just the whole time he was talking.
He is hilarious.
Yes.
He really is. He is fucking hilarious. Mikey, promote
Yes.
MikeMessier.com. By the way, if your name was a website, it would be MikeMessier.com.
MikeMessier.com. I appreciate it, Angelo. Had some nice news that a 40-second movie of mine, 40 Seconds, The Never Was selected into an Italian film festival, the Mediterranean Film Festival, run by Danny
Congrats.
Caprio. Thank you. It's this whole COVID thing has been tough for film festivals. I run one myself,
Yeah.
the Avalonia Film Festival.
Yeah.
And still accepting submissions, but a lot of film festivals are kind of catching up to what I did years ago, which was most of my efforts are onto my online presentations. So
Right.
for Avalonia Festival, people can go and see the award-winning films right there on the website. I've been doing that since I started because you just realize with film festivals, more people can see stuff online than can actually afford to travel to all these different festivals. So.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
just fun to be here with you today. I mean, the world's going through a lot of stuff, but we could escape from that for a few hours and talk wrestling.
Slowly but surely, we're getting back to some sense of normalcy here in New Jersey. Thank God. Not a moment too soon.
Right.
But for Wrestling with the Future, you can find us on our public page on Facebook, Wrestling with the Future. We also have a new private page. We've got about 275 members now on our private page, and Mikey's a big part of that. Our YouTube channel, Wrestling with the Future Podcast. So make sure you type in Wrestling with the Future Podcast on YouTube, and our station will pop right up. Twitter, it's at Wrestling Future, no G, at Wrestling Future. If you've got questions, comments, or show suggestions, send us an email at wrestling with, I'll get it right. Hold on, Teeth. Wrestling with the Future at gmail.com. And we answer everything that comes in. So if it takes us a little bit, just bear with us. So on behalf of Benny Scala from Ocala, Mr. Marvelous, the movie maker himself, Mike Messier, I am your host, Psychic Medium Angelo. Thank you, everybody. Tune in again. Our next guest will be the incomparable female wrestler, Joyce Grable. Until then, happy wrestling. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.